Did you know that over 70% of the people in America alone suffer from imposter syndrome at some point in their lives? It is usually contributed due to low self-esteem, which actually it is an endemic problem in today's world. More and more people are suffering from the symptoms, whereby the individuals are not feeling good enough about themselves, or maybe because they don't belong to a certain group that they desire, such as peer group, which actually affects them. Well, in this video, I will actually explain to you how to recognize when low self-esteem comes in your life and what exactly to do about it. The first symptom that proves that you are actually suffering from low self-esteem, it is actually when you don't really like yourself. At some point in your life, you really feel angry about yourself, hating everything you do and whom you are. This condition is actually contributed to difficult situations that you are facing in your life, and it seems that you can't find the right solution either for your problems. When this condition occurs in life, the right approach to go about it is actually through the following process, and the first process it's actually changing the negative self-talk and replace with the positive talk. This can be accomplished through daily positive affirmations. The second symptom that proves that you are actually suffering from low self-esteem, it is actually because you are always trying to be perfect. Perfectionism, it is actually an illusion that forces one to strive and always be in a state of not making any mistakes at all. But you need to understand that man is to error. Therefore, it is your duty to take the initiative to actually learn from those mistakes. Failure to that, the mistakes will actually act as a reflection of your capabilities instead of the lessons that you need to learn from. In order to be able to solve this problem of perfectionism, then it is highly recommended that you must have realistic expectations. Understand that no one has ever succeeded at everything they do without coming across failure. Don't judge your potential using the outcome, but actually find the mistakes that you make as an important lessons to be learned. The second way to be able to solve this problem of perfectionism is that understand the difference between failing and failure. The only time you have ever failed is when you give up. The best way to illustrate this point is by using an example like Thomas Edison, who actually tried 1,000 times to create a working light bulb, but he encountered failure all throughout his attempts. And out of all those failing experiences, he noted by saying that, "I did not fail 1,000 times, but I actually found out 1,000 ways that cannot work." You need to understand that the word failing, it is actually a verb. It demonstrates that a certain action was conducted, but the outcome result were not as the expected ones. But the individual, since he is still in the action of trying to succeed, then this gives him an opportunity to learn what actually went wrong. While on the other side, failure is actually a noun that actually illustrates a naming word to someone who actually gave up after trying to attempt to achieve a certain goal, which he failed, but he decided to stop trying at all and never learned anything in the process. The point that I'm trying to explain here is that you're never going to be perfect, so stop trying to attain something you can't have. Instead, focus on progress and not perfection, since when you are progressing forward, you actually move forward through learning from your mistakes. The third symptom that actually proves that you are suffering from low self-esteem, it is actually because you really don't like your body. Low self-esteem can actually be contributed due to a negative body image, which actually it is common to both women and men. But according to statistics, it shows that it mainly affects the women more than how it affects the men. It contributes to a state whereby you are not feeling comfortable in our body, and you actually find it as a huge deal. This is because how we hold ourselves and how we feel about ourselves physically has a huge impact in how we present ourselves and act, which can affect the way we're perceived by others, hence it ends up reinforcing our fears. In order to solve this kind of situation then, the first thing you should do is actually don't compare yourself with other people. You need to understand that there are only two people on earth. That is you and the rest of the people. The other people aren't you, and they haven't been through all the life experience that you have been through. The only comparison that you should make in your life, it is actually between whom you were yesterday and whom you are today. This will enable you to identify the things that you need to improve about your body, but keep in mind that they have nothing to do with other people. The second solution of you solving this problem of you not liking your body, it is actually through good care of ourselves. This means different things for different people. This is because we're all in a different place when it comes to health-wise issues. But as a general rule, a healthy lifestyle and a comfortable exercise plan can make a world of difference in your life. Since a healthy body leads to a healthy mind and also a healthy outlook. The third solution that you can take in order to solve this problem of you not liking your body is actually through taking simple steps to improve. Often people with low self-esteem, they usually don't bother themselves when it comes to their personal appearance, since there is no point at all. I know it sounds ironical, but when you take time to look at yourself, you will actually feel much better about your appearance. And I truly understand that I sound harsh, but listen, just force yourself to do the things that you know that will make you look and feel better. I know that it sounds weird, but posture and breath can make a massive difference to how you look and feel too. If you're practicing positive self-talk and also take that time to mentally check the way you're standing and breathing. The fourth symptom that actually proves that you are actually suffering from low self-esteem is actually because you don't think you have anything to offer. It is true say that no one is good at everything, but often the people with low self-esteem don't think they're good at anything. This kind of belief is actually rooted in our own sense of value. In a sense that, if you think that you're worth less than other people, it's only natural to elevate other people above yourself. Just like other self-esteem issues, the way to deal with this, it is actually to reframe it and realize that you have what it takes to offer in a particular situation. In order to solve the problem in this kind of situation, you need to understand that everyone is unique, with unique things to offer. You might not be as good at your job, studies, or anything else in comparison to the person sitting next to you. But you need to understand that every single person is an individual, with individual talents, and we're all so complicated. So up to this point, the question that actually arises is that, why are you comparing yourself to one aspect of another person, then using that one thing as a way to judge yourself harshly? The point that I'm trying to explain here is that, instead of focusing on what you can't do, focus on what you do well instead. The second way that you can use, that will enable you to stop believing that you have nothing to offer is actually stop believing you're worse than everyone else. This point is highly related to the point that I have actually explained before, which is, everyone is unique, with unique things to offer. Since it's all matter of perspective. As soon as you realize that people might have better traits than you in one area, but not in others, then it's a lot easier to realize that we're all multifaceted people, and we're all good at everything. The third way that you can use, that will enable you to stop believing that you have nothing to offer is actually act in the way you want to be treated. You see, our body language and how we project ourselves makes a huge difference in how we're treated by other people. In most cases, you admire someone and think they're better than you, you're basically admitting to yourself that this is something you want for yourself. So these things that you admire in others are things that you aspire to be. You can use them as a guide for how you plan to transform yourself as you grow in the coming months and years. The fifth symptom that can actually indicate that you are suffering from low self-esteem is actually because of the fact that you are far too oversensitive. When you've got low self-esteem, everything in your life becomes painful. All the negative comments about you usually put you down. Since you have a negative self-talk, then the comments seem to attack you directly and leave you at a state of taking things personally. This kind of problem can actually be solved when you reflect on yourself and shift your mindset. This actually can be accomplished through the following steps. The first step is actually listen to the actual message, not how it makes you feel. When the same comment is delivered to two different people, it can actually have two entirely different outcomes. Since some people will actually focus on how it makes them feel rather than actually listening to the actual message. The moment you assess what's being said on the actual words, it lets you distance yourself from your emotions and consider the comments logically and rationally. The second step to actually take in order to solve the problem of being oversensitive is actually be confident enough to know what's reasonable. For instance, let us say that you are attacked and insulted, hence it turns out that you were right, and what's being said is an attack and it is unfair. Be sure to stand up for yourself. This is because boundaries are an essential part of life. And often people might not even realize that they're being unfair. If you don't stand up for yourself and say what's right and reasonable for you, people might just assume that you're happy to do what they're asking. Have standards and know what you're willing to do and be. This counts both at work and also in relationships. The third step to actually take in order to solve the problem of being oversensitive is actually being confident enough to take criticism. Sometimes the people we love say things that aren't nice, but they are not. The ninth symptom that actually indicates that you are suffering from low self-esteem, it is actually because you are not happy with how your own life. Self-respect comes from doing things that you think are respectable. Think about it this way. If you're living a life that you don't actually like and constantly doing things that make you miserable, how are you ever going to be happy or actually like yourself? You're not doing anything that feels good to you or makes you the person you want to be, so of course will end up being miserable. In order to solve this problem of actually not being happy with how your life is, then the following steps are necessary to consider. The first step is actually being productive, since it will make you to feel good. We all know, much as we might hate doing housework, how good a clean house feels. We've all got a list of little things that should be done, but we just keep on putting off, either because we've got more important things to do, or we just don't feel like it, so we end up saying that we will do it the following day. These thoughts sit around in our heads, making us feel bad because we know that we're not doing what we should be doing. Pick one thing, even the tiniest thing, and get it done. Even if it's just tidying a handful of mugs or taking out the trash. And sometimes, taking the first tiny step is all the impetus we need to break the chains of apathy and get going. The second step to take in order to solve the problem of not being happy with the way your life is, it is actually through creating a plan. If you were going on a long trip somewhere you'd never been before, would you try and do it blindly without planning the route first? Of course you wouldn't, because if you did, it is only God who knows where you'd end up. So if you're living your life without a plan, is it any wonder you're not where you want to be? Do you even know where you want to be? You need to make a plan. Have a goal. I mean it in a serious way. Set aside some time. Preferably at least half an hour or longer, and write it down. Explain to yourself literally what you want to be and whom you want to be. Don't worry so much about the why. Just describe what your life is like in as much details as possible. Explain where you live, where you work, what you do when you get home, and also your relationships. Once you have these goals, work backwards and find out what steps you need to take in order to start achieving them. These steps don't have to be big either. Make them as tiny as possible so they're as easy to achieve. If you want a new job, for example, you might need more qualifications, so step 1 might be to buy a book on the subject. Step 2 could be as small as reading the book for 10 minutes a day. But over time, these tiny steps add up incrementally, and before you know it, you're somewhere entirely different. The 10th symptom that actually indicates that you are actually suffering from low self-esteem, it is actually because you feel like your life is limited. Sometimes, low self-esteem can come from issues outside of yourself. If you live a limited life, where you aren't doing what you want to do, if you feel constrained or closed in, this can make a huge difference in your mental state. Thankfully, this is the easiest issue to solve, and by making strides here, you can give yourself the freedom and confidence to work on the rest. The following steps explain what exactly to do about it. The first step is actually trying something new. New things push your boundaries and your comfort zone, and if there's one thing low self-esteem does, it can cause what you're comfortable with to shrink way down. Start small. If there's something you've been meaning to cook but never got round to, or a book you've been wanting to read, treat yourself. Then step out. Take a friend or your partner out to that new restaurant you've heard about. Try a new hobby or learn a new skill. Try to strap a parachute on your back and jump out of a plane. Every new skill will break you out of your shell and help you realize that you are a lot more capable than you think you are. The second step to take in order to get rid of the life of limitations, it is actually through helping out friends and family. When you're suffering, it's normal to try and shut yourself away so you don't inflict yourself on other people. But this only makes things worse. Hard as it is, you should try and put yourself out and force yourself to help other people instead. This does two things. 1, it drives you to be social, and the positive reinforcement you'll get from your friends and family can make you feel better. 2, by doing things like this, you will slowly start to realize that you're more capable than you think you are, and you can handle difficult situations and the pressures of life. After all, if you can help other people, you can probably help yourself. Right? Low self-esteem can be a difficult problem to solve because it affects literally everything you do. But by following the methods that I have explained to you properly and carefully, then you can start yourself on the path to confidence and happiness. Well, my beloved ones, we have actually come up to the end of the video. If you really found this video useful, you can kindly show your gratitude by clicking the like button, and also remember to share the link of the video to anyone who you know has any of the symptoms I have explained above. If you are interested in video on topics such as entrepreneurship, sales, marketing, life skills, and motivation, then consider yourself at home by clicking the subscribe button. And by the way, I have left a link on the video concerning about facts on self-esteem. Kindly check it out in the video description below. As for now, goodbye.